so I can watch the chat. That's gonna be my excuse.
Connecting. And we're live. Welcome to the Hidden Treasure podcast. My name is Captain Mavis, and this over here is...
We run into a problem immediately. I have too many overlapping brands. For the purpose of this podcast, it'll be Captain Obvious.
For the purpose of this podcast, it'll be Captain Obvious, yeah.
But my handle is, and I'm looking at your profile right now, and I'm seeing myself, my own issues with this reflected in yours. My handle is @RobertJulius, which happens to be my name. Then I put a title on top of it, full of good ideas.
That's a good title.
It is, but it's conflicting. And then the name of my blog is The Juice. It's something else. I tried to change it. It kept it on The Juice. It didn't want to go back. So I feel like that's one thing I find confusing about Substack. Is there's too many monikers. There's too many ways to mess up there's too many ways to fuzzy up the markings. It's like it's too easy to bury the lead on this platform.
I'm having a similar problem because also I thought like your reasoning was sound to not like make it the name just Mariana Pinson, because nobody will find that somehow like intriguing to follow when you're commenting. So I also changed for CalSurfer23, which is my handle on Telegram and Instagram as well, and also on Blue Sky. It's kind of like,
I would just in your case, I would simply say change your handle to that. Have that be your handle.
CalSurfer23 and then the name Captain Mavis.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, that makes
the way around. Maybe I thought of it, but it's in general.
You could just go Mavis, because you don't have to have. It doesn't have to be unique on the name. You can put whatever you like on the name.
The handle needs to be unique, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think your handle is still unique on Substack.
Probably.
It's early days. We can squat all the nice handles on Substack.
Squatting.
I think that's why I have my name on there at least. So it's nice to not have your name, have somebody else be your. But you have to put your own name and then with numbers behind it. It's annoying. But somebody on Twitter, somebody took my name. Like, I was not on time to just have my name, and it's just some guy who took the handle, tweeted once in like 2011, and it's just
same on Instagram. Like, Cal Surfer was taken by a guy that was like did one post years ago and then never again. And it's like, yeah. But I think the 23 is still like a giveaway for like the Discordian people. It makes it a bit more obvious as well for that crowd to like, okay, there's somebody with the 23.
Yeah, no, you're it. Good point. I should. I could also put some Discordian dog whistles on my page.
Discordian dog whistles. Yeah, because this is a Discordian operation we're running, right? We're recruiting for the Erisian Liberation Front.
I think that is a good. I think that is a good thing to remind myself of.
And that's okay then too. That is confusing about the names because it's a Discordian operation, and Eris also got
How else would we find them? We only want the lost ones. Yeah, maybe I should be happy I don't get a lot of subscribers on my Substack, because it would get too hard to sort through them. Now I know, like, oh, these people interact with my stuff before I and yeah. I should not try to appeal to anyone. I should avoid it. I should try to make one. I should want to post it the way that it's simply where I'm happy. Like, I go to my happy place, I scroll my own Substack. Like if I can simply keep that as the guiding principle of how I approach this website, just be like, okay, this is just where I'm gonna have my website. Like, okay, I decided to entrust them with that as a platform, which is crazy. But one thing I love about it, I miss hives. I'm Dutch. I'm a Dutch millennial, so I miss hives. We used to have hives. It was amazing. It was better than MySpace. It was amazing. But everybody left hives because Facebook happened. And Facebook had the university angle market covered. So as soon as you go to university, you join Facebook and and everybody gets off hives. I was one of the holdouts. Like, I had like Hive Premium membership. You got to see all the stats, and you get to like uh, you have much more control over your page. Everybody's page was different. Like, you could put the different. You could basically, it was a website. You had a website that included contacts. But now Substack is almost like that. You have almost enough control over the way that your Substack place looks, that um yeah, it'll do as a website. Like, I've seen people where I come to people's websites, like through Substack. I discover people's pages. Sometimes you go to people's, like, you actually go to people's publication. You have quite a lot of control over how it looks. Like, sometimes I'm surprised to find myself. I look at the URL. I have to check that I'm on Substack. You know.
All right, I haven't had that experience, but yeah, the posts are quite customizable indeed. We have Cielo joining us. Hello, good evening. Cielito lindo.
Yeah. So sometimes when I'm on Substack, I really feel like I'm looking at somebody's website. So I'm like, okay, and this way I can approach somebody else. I remember being asked, so what is this website to you? What is it about this website? Like, I shared it, and this was the feedback I got back. Like, what is this website to you? Like, oh, I feel super naked immediately. Like, poked straight through the thing. It's like, why am I putting energy into having a website online presence at all? What am I craving? Like, what's this? What is it? Like, let's go back to first principles. Where in my psychology d- does it come from? What drives me to be here?
Have you found an answer to that question?
Well, let's dive into that, because I have my whys. I can give you a whole stack of why I do it. There are some and maybe the fact that this why is also not so clear to me, or it doesn't convince me. I can formulate an answer, but I know better by now than to believe it.
Your internal bullshit generator is bringing up good stories, yeah?
Well, I think I'm recognizing what's happening. I've lived my whole life with this. It's not that it's not a recent invention. The internal bullshit. It's always been there, and it's been giving me reasons for my behavior. But if I believe the reasons and I say, like, okay, this is enough. Just with this why, I will continue to take this on, take this project on, take this persona on, take this relationship on, and proceed into my life with it. But it's really, I think, interesting when somebody asks you, "Hey, so what is this website to you?" I'm like, what do you mean? It's giving me dopamine, and I'm It's giving me
But in a
dopamine, and it's
different
just
way. But in a different way. Cielo is saying she likes to discover Substack more. She found already some nice inspirations, and I think that is like that was my experience this morning. Like I did a full on morning scroll on Substack this morning, like 2 hours. But it's like I came out of that scroll with like, damn, like action time, so much juicy content and inspiration I found, and I don't get that on Facebook. Like, you can do like a Facebook or Instagram scroll, and you end up like 2 hours later, sort of like
or
empty. Yeah, maybe you found some
years
funny
later.
memes.
You end up years later. I wish it was hours. It was years, because looking for it, they when this algorithm is like gets to know you so well, and we were such noobs. We were going in raw. We had no fucking idea about the internet. You know, there was no warning labels on that shit. We raw dogged these advertisements. Molded to trigger you. And they fucking knew you. It was really like I hope I'm happy to accept the mission to put some real fucking effort into making sure that we are the last generation to have this kind of relationship with social media at all. What a disgusting thing to have happen to an entire generation already. This cannot be the new normal. This is ridiculous. It
And
takes years.
what I was getting lately, I mean, yeah, the advertise. I did see some value in getting targeted advertising because it actually sometimes got things I actually wanted. Um, but what flabbergasted me lately it was this sense of my whole creativity in creating content for these platforms
Yeah.
feels like just being thrown into a pit that it's a 30 seconds awareness disappearing act, right? Because it just gets swallowed by this feed.
It's awesome. It's awful. And it's even like, and even if you do your best, even if you generate some gold that everybody likes, there's still, then what's happening? One, yeah, you gave it away for free to Mark fucking Zuckerberg. And then the algorithm is going to use that little gold when they notice one of your friends is like about to like lay the phone down and like go actually do something productive with their life because there's nothing interesting coming, the dopamine is not coming. They're gonna like weaponize your gold that you gave to hook your friend back in to the scroll. Ooh. And we played that game with them for 15 years
Something like that.
because we were trying to establish a persona or an online identity, because we were looking for ways to get our gold out into the world. And when we finally, in this sort of manner, manage to do it, it gets used against us. And it gets used to disrupt community. It's a complete perversion of the promise of the internet. This is,
Mhm. And I
you
get
know,
the feeling that Substack is a bit different about that. Like, there's a different vibe around. Like, I don't know if it's right now the people kind of all like, oh, I'm out of Meta and I'm looking for new friends, sort
and
of
he's doing
vibe.
it. Look, I get that feeling, but it reminds me of one thing. It reminds me of activism. For a lot of people, this is akin to activism. I feel like there is that vibe to it as well. And I've there it looking at the migration to Substack through the lens of experiences that happen in the context of activism is making one thing clear. It's really desirable, or reminding me that it's really desirable to feel like you are part of the solution.
Mm.
But in order to really be part of the solution, it's very, very important that you come to terms with the ways in which you really were part of the problem. So we don't go from
Mm.
being part of the problem having that flash of insight, I'm part of the problem, and then choosing to pivot to being part of the solution. Much better sit with why you sit with that, dig into the mess of that, and then be part of the solution, because it's not just the awareness, it's to learn your lessons so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past and don't build the same trap of the past, because we get
Okay.
used to our.
I'm smelling treasure there, so let's dig in.
Yeah, but this is from it happens in politics, or in politics, perhaps also, and in activism. Like it's like, oh, okay, but then not knowing that the oppressive structures that you're fighting against are also present inside your mind. Like ideology is a framework around which we structure reality. And that it messes with the world you're looking at. You know, everything you think you're seeing, and every way that you relate to what you think you've seen is
Mhm.
informed by the world around you. So
Ideology as a strong element of the filters of perception circuitry.
yeah, it's like
The stories.
in that sense we are in the matrix. We don't need computers for the matrix, but we've added computers to the matrix, and it's an interesting thing to do. Perhaps not without its consequence.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's this. We were talking the other day about simulacra, right? Um,
Yeah, the copy without the original.
that, but also reality being mediated somehow through not being anymore engaged with direct perception of reality and direct exposure to reality, but experiencing reality way more mediated through social media, technology.
Right. And in that respect, that reminds me of one issue that I keep with Substack. I don't own the data I generate, or I don't feel like I own the data I generate. Or let's say possession is half of ownership in the law. So okay, sure, maybe I have copyright standing in a suit, in a case against Substack or whoever uses my data from Substack. Um, but there, but it's not. There's no custody. I don't have custody of the data. So um, I have to. If I want my data, I have to trust them. I have to ask them for my data. Same way, if I want my money from the bank, I have to go to the bank and ask the bank. Substack is still a bank for data. It's still a data bank in that sense. Um, so they remain an intermediary. And when it comes to the simulacra of yourself, so your digital avatar,
Mhm.
we are right now giving the perfect content to them for avatarizing us. And
Yeah.
and being somebody else's.
This is some really mind fucking thought loop. This avatarizing us. You proposed that already during your stay last year time in Berlin. That's why I jumped into your experiment. Okay, let's record all of our conversations so that we have original data to create sometimes digital AI avatars from ourselves and have sort of like the OG content and a bigger and broader spec of content that then reflects our personalities
Yeah.
better. And
So,
that's maybe not so curated as well, like because we're like here, right now, here we're embodying some persona, the Captain Mavis and Captain
yeah,
Obvious, that
but I
has a
wanted to do a
specific
campaign.
context as well.
Hmm? We have context. So to provide, so like, okay, great to have the insight, but what are you going to do with it? And I feel like I want to start a campaign to test. So in a way, I'm happy to give Substack the benefit of the doubt, but that means I'm going to engage with it. I'm the previous social media have used us as free labor. So unionize. We unionize, and here are the real campaign. The union can end itself, or the idea is to actually move Substack to a worker-owned co-op model rather than um, being privately owned by people who.
I mean, like digital commons.
I don't know about digital commons, but and you know why it would be very interesting is because there are, let's say, the full palette of political persuasions is present on this platform. So it'd
I have
be a
not
great
encountered
petri dish.
them.
I have. It would be a great petri dish to see if class struggle or a class-based analysis of power struggle or of power structures and data ownership and commons could work as a test case for, yes, to see how class analysis and class awareness changes the dynamic. We could dissolve the tension of polarity through class struggle. And I can imagine that this sort of opening that door in reality to give us a path towards peace would be worth it, even to if you're currently like the CEO of or the if you're the C-suite of Substack, who have equity and who hope to go IPO so that they can cash in and you know join the oligarchy. In a way, this is a karmic question where we all
Karmic,
get
karmic question. How is this a karmic question, Captain Obvious?
we all get to participate in a pivotal moment in history, and we decide together how we proceed. And peace on earth, and to choose peace and love at every opportunity. And there is a political consequence to that in this sense. So I feel that that the journey towards collective evolution and transcendence, the the victory of consciousness over the just the continued presence of the light of consciousness. If that's the real mission, it, we have a better chance if we do it together.
Transcendence. That's a good point. I think the techno bros have their own notion of transcendence that's more like rooted in this transhumanism of a let's upload our consciousness to the machines, and that's the way we transcend. What do you think about that?
It's all the same to me. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions about what somebody else has in their mind, but um, maybe we all have we all necessarily have a piece of the puzzle.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, because we're all fractal, um, holographic angles. uh,
The pieces of the kaleidoscopic blur of existence.
yeah, we're all drops in the bucket. So if it's the idea that something is that that it's possible. If the idea that it's possible, is such a present collective subconscious meme, it's great when that comes out. And I just think that that I can imagine how Substack is presently the best vessel for collaborating on that project and to create content about it in real time. And if it is a fractal, if it is a hologram, it will play out on multiple levels: politics and class struggle, and this economy, and discovering new economic models is part of that. Is part of that.
I feel it is. It feels like a petri dish for trying out ideas and testing out the resonance. And I'm encountering a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
more inspiring content that is sort of like bouncing around what could a civilization configuration look like after collapse? How do we move through collapse? How can we remain um, also upbeat about the chances of creating something out of the crumbling structures, out of the wreckage, um, without losing hope or getting despaired for where things are going, and that I find motivating. And Cielito says, I'm out of Instagram, Facebook for like 3 years, but what I used a lot was YouTube. And YouTube, it feels like two-sided sword. You can get inspired or lost. Until now, Substack doesn't give me the feeling to get lost. Also to reconnect knowledge in different areas again that we separated from each other because of school.
Yeah, like that every aspect of knowledge is somehow seen as its own track.
Mm.
And maybe I never got interested in science because it was all presented as different tracks.
Like the segmentation of knowledge, you mean?
Yeah, and I regret it because I think I would be good at science. I think I would make a. Or I would have enjoyed to do it more. But school was really a hateful, lacking place for me. School was really miserable, and
Mm.
best school in the country, and this is like it caused a lot of grief and a lot of disappointment in the system, because it's literally like, the school was like celebrating how it was the best school and whatever, but it was more about it. But they couldn't help me, and it was also clear on the teachers that they found that problem like it was an embarrassment to them.
You were an embarrassment to the teachers because of what?
Yeah, because they expressed regret that they couldn't help me, that they had to kick me out of school. Yeah, they ended up kicking me out of school, and they said it was
Unteachable or what?
no, no, it was an embarrassment because they like it was they said it was the smartest kid they had had on the school,
Hmm.
and that having to kick me out, or that was yeah, it was like an embarrassment, was felt like was a traumatic thing. You know, it was
And why did they kick you out? Or what was the reason given for
so I
kicking
had
you
to. I wasn't showing up. It wasn't.
out?
I wasn't going. I wasn't going.
Mm, mm,
And they let me get away. They let me get away with it. They were met with so much stuff in this not going, but it was just, I don't know. So I really hated school. I was really miserable there from the start, and it made me not want to learn.
mm.
I feel like I don't know how to do anything well, anything specific, because I just sort of have trauma around learning things from education. And in a way, the best thing about that, like the most beautiful thing about that I learned, is that it is possible for your entire culture to be completely wrong. That
Yeah. And therein is the problem why civilizations collapse at some point, because they get like too rigid on the culture they have built and not flexible and not adaptable to changes that are happening
Yeah,
still.
it,
Mm.
it was some. Yeah, I think it was somewhere in high school that I lost faith in the. All right,
So that's
I was I in the regular school system. Yeah, yeah, I was. Did I reconnect with learning? I can't say that I have. I not deliberately. I have this ADHD. Or one thing that I read on Substack about ADHD, and Substack is therapy. Substack is therapy to me because of people sharing their gold here. Okay, and that's why we're bringing such fucking good stuff. This is the real value, and it's unfair that it's owned by somebody else. It's just this is not how things should be. It triggers my sense of justice, but just because I feel that way doesn't mean I'm gonna not participate in Substack.
so
But I'm
many
gonna,
conflicts.
because they did a live stream and he's like, oh yeah, it's glad if you keep my feet to the fire. Okay, I'll make it living hell for you if you know, or show you that it can be heaven and hell. Okay, we can have both. We can have it. It's on here anyway.
Back to the learning though, because I think this is an interesting thing. You were about to go
Here,
into a rabbit hole of ADHD, and I think that
yeah, that you don't
one
want
thing that
to. Oh yeah.
ADHD
So
brains
on
have.
Substack, somebody posted the ADHD thing about that you hate when you know that you're doing something, in a way, like not allowing yourself to be focusing on something. So it's like, oh, I'm not like, and so it was posted earlier. Also, I'm going to get a charging cable. That you have the if you want to clean your house, for example, it's like you have to kind of. I tried this, and it's like trick yourself that, oh, I'm not really doing that. I'm listening to an audiobook, and I want to keep myself a little bit busy while I do that with something I don't have to think about. So I happen to be, doing like rubbing dishes with water, but but refusing to label the thing you're doing as the thing you're doing. Oh, uh,
What I've noticed about ADHD and learning is that ADHD brains are very capable of learning fast, of assimilating a lot of information, but it needs to be like interest based. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a if something sparks my interest and I want to learn about it, I can go on deep dive hyperfixations to learn about it.
yeah,
And that's
exactly.
disencouraged in school, right? Through the this is the curriculum you have to learn,
Yeah,
and it's not there's not spaciousness for the kids to actually follow their own interests and then generate the dopamine out of the out of the spike of interest and going deeper and deeper and actually learning something. Um, because dopamine is also involved in the learning process. We retain information easier if we get dopamine out of the learning experience.
hmm yeah, yeah. No, so if I thought that ADHD brain is like you have Mary Kondo brain. It's like this does not spark joy.
Yeah, follow your joy, man. But that's the thing that I am enjoying about exploring this platform with you, and this is the invitation to Cielo as well, who is exploring this platform,
Yeah.
to join us in this joy, because ADHD brains also work with this. I told you this body doubling, right? So if you have somebody else sort of on task, or you have like, okay, I'm doing this task, you're doing maybe another task, but we're like, okay, we're doing together this task. Like for example, when we're doing the Ormec
hmm
cleanup rituals, right? So we both initiate it, and I know you're cleaning and I'm cleaning, and it keeps us both motivated because we know this person on the other side is also doing that. And I found that this has helped me as well to keep on investing focus and interest in getting to know how we can use this platform well, because I know you're also doing it, and we're learning together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And even that gives you like a context of, okay, I don't want to be doing the dishes, but I do want to be taking part in this sort of collaborative space holding ritual idea that is like its own form of motivation, even if nothing changes.
Silo says, good that our education system is changing little by little because more people understand that learning is individual and need to take part in different ways. Yeah, and so and some.
Yeah, because it's also, you know, that's right, and for me that brings up immediately these thoughts about like human worth that we're kind of that we've been sleeping on, and at the same time falling birth rates and um, waste, just the notion of wastefulness. And I think we waste what we take for granted, and what we take for granted is stuff that we are given by default, that is somebody else's, and it's not really my consequence if something happens to it. And this includes kids being sent to schools, or at least that's what it felt like when I was in school. It was like there were some teachers who genuinely were just unhappy to be there. Who in a way you really saw them suffer. Like you were just exposed to them suffering. Like it was not good for them psychologically to be there. Yeah, and they didn't manage to even if they were good teachers, if they had been good teachers once.
I'm not fully getting the loop there. You're saying that we waste resources that are given to us that are not our own.
Yeah.
So you're saying, what are you saying about like kids
Yeah, that
are
we were taken for
wasted
granted. Like in a
resources?
way, the humans are human. Yeah, humans get really taken for granted because this system that we're like we're codded into these cohorts. It's it is all built from an ideological mindset that doesn't really value human life.
No, yeah, school, the traditional schooling system that was created for the masses, someone around the Industrial Revolution, was meant to form people into obedient worker drones and give them just enough education that they can be obedient worker drones.
Yeah,
From the
exactly.
get-go, it was not designed to create self-sovereign humans.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was
exactly.
not the design. There's a bit of a shift happening, and Asilo says, I already found posts about deschooling and how to educate your child for self-directed learning. And that's a discussion. Yes, one of the points of how you exit the matrix, and there's so many exit points, right? The schooling system, the food system, the healthcare system, the meta platforms.
I mean, I just want to raise my kids so that they don't need DMT to unplug from the matrix. You know, just just like just imagine that we have these like things, and I have one of these things on the back of my head. You know, yeah, exactly. I have one of the just to have kids born without them. You know, that's all I'm looking. That's all. I'm happy already. If I manage that, I don't need to save the world. It's
Like
just plant the
so
seed
much
for the next one.
deprogramming you need to do after being schooled, right? To
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to a point of self-sovereign individuals.
ex-
And
yeah. But in a way, unschooling. But it's like I think that the topic before that we were talking about how school produces worker drones. It's like Foucault. The school mirrors the prison, mirrors the office.
And that's where a lot of ADHD kids just the school really doesn't work. All right,
You know why I had ADHD? Because I was always sitting like this. Restless leg syndrome. That's not restless leg syndrome. That's just your body saying, "Hey, let's walk. Let's go. Let's
yeah.
get out of here. Let's leave this scene." That's what restless leg syndrome is. You don't need methamphetamine. You need to get out of school. You need to leave.
Or allow at least, yeah, like allow. It's so terrible that there's not much spaciousness for kids nowadays to just like roam around, right? Like roam the fuck around.
And besides, the world that like I met this already. The world that I was supposed to like being educated for entering into already didn't exist by the time I got there. You know, so just walk out. If you're in school, you're reading this, just walk out. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that unschooling not only it's not only about getting your kids to self-determined learning, also us as adults need to do
Yeah.
some unschooling, like rework all that schooling programs we got imprinted with. And
Yeah.
this is what I mean with ceasing the means of perception as well. To like go
Yeah.
into the nitty-gritty inside your own psyche and find all those schooling programs that try to program you to be a proper adult in the adulting games or participate in some meaningful way to the construct of society.
That I'm happy to
While
do. That I'm happy to do. But can I make my own definition of meaning? Do you mind if I say, "Oh well, I found out what has meaning, and it's all either illegal or there's no space or everybody else is too busy doing something else or it's already owned by somebody who's making a complete mess of it, who's destroying it, some or well, the entire world has been captured by like the lamest possible excuse for capturing things, which is like just profit and mere survival. It's almost, and everybody speaks about their motivations for this. Okay, I'm gonna. It's gonna be a short rant. I don't like ranting, but it's gonna be short.
go.
In terms of like, oh, but I'm doing this to survive. It's like, come on. Look at the reality. If you look at the economic reality of where we are right now, or at least let's imagine where we were around 2000 before everything destroyed, like exactly like in the Matrix. Let's go back to 1999 and look around us. And what do we see? All this running after more, all the economic growth at that point is no longer needed to satisfy everybody's needs.
Mm.
If we look at that point, we have enough productivity to give everybody a decent life if we would prioritize that, but we didn't. And why not? And it's a corruption. It's a clear sign of corruption, the fact that we didn't pivot at that point to just, okay, you know, in a way it really would have been better if we had just gone global socialism. And then people say, oh, but the Soviets had secret police. Why do you think the Soviet Union had secret police? They needed secret police because the CIA was coming in to try and do a coup. They wanted to do a neoliberal coup. They wanted to reinstate private property. This is why these places have secret police. You know, this is not. And then anyway, it's the counter-revolution. That's the problem. Yeah.
Well, right now we're at a juncture where new things are needed, new narratives,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's right. But
Like
either
we're
way,
not gonna go back to communism or the standard crip socialism.
no.
And
But to me, I was always an anarchist, and I
Mhm.
found I only learned to appreciate the communist perspective later in life, because it is consistent and it does make sense. But I was always an anarchist, and I'm still an anarchist, or not even an anarchist, because I don't want to. That's if, as an it doesn't work as an ism, because there's no way to convince anybody about anarchy, or even and anarchy is just a description for I trust everybody. I trust everybody because everybody has has if ever when everybody has
Do you trust
developed.
everybody?
Hmm?
Do you trust everybody?
No, but
But
I could trust everybody if we. I am fully convinced that if everybody has enough and nobody, then there's no way to amass power or privilege for selfish reasons. There, in a way, you don't give the option for self-aggrandizement. Those
well,
who and selfish accumulation,
but
or
the
if.
thing is that those programs are still running, right? I'm an anarchist too, right? Elysian Liberation Front, Eris is an anarchic religion.
Yeah. Okay, but
And
then
it's about spreading some form of happy anarchy in a way, right? The spirit of it. But
yes.
the reality is exactly those problems that you're saying, that people are selfish, they want to dominate, they want to amass, they want to like hierarchy and status. That's a consciousness problem. I think we're not evolved enough in the masses to
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
live
yeah, yeah,
anarchy.
yeah. Better, better,
Like
better point. Better point.
we
Let's
can
not
do
get lost.
anarchic collectives and little communes and intentional communities with the people that have done the work to like unfuck their nervous
I would
systems.
love to see that. You're right. You're right. No, no, no. You're right. That's it. But you're pointing at what is the experiment? Like, what are you trying to prove? So, in a way, yes. If we want to look like what would anarchism look like, okay, it would look like whatever you or not is. But how would I like to see? Yes, intentional community with people that you trust because they have done the work, because they are self-aware, not perfectly, but enough to be trusted to own their shit.
To own their shit and to enter into processes of repair when you fucked up and when you yeah did some damage to someone else, or when your shadow gremlins took over and just like laid a big dump on the commons.
Right, that you're committed to that because
Yes,
that you even that obviously you would rather clean up your mess.
yeah.
Yeah,
And Cielo's bringing in a very important problem. Is it not also a problem of not being an adult? When we're not conscious, not mature enough, we need our parents' authority. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing that I had also with a client today in the discussion. We don't have adult initiation programs,
yes.
rituals in
Okay,
our
that's true.
society, right?
But
A
yeah,
lot
but
of
that's almost. But it's
indigenous cultures
I know,
still.
but this is becoming a meme at this point. Like this is no longer like a fresh insight. This is like, okay, so now what do we make them? How do we make them?
How
So
do we
yeah,
make
let's make
adults?
them. Maybe okay, let's make them. But also, it's that else- we need parent authorities. Yeah. So this it's like, and the problem isn't needing authority; it's not wanting to admit it. So it's that even in a group where you have some minority who are adults, who can carry the responsibility, then even if you just let the people take their role because of that, but acknowledge that that's happening. Don't pretend it's not happening. Yeah, so I don't see as when I look at anarchy, I don't mean that there's no authorities or that there's no respect or something or no rules. That it's
Mm,
just random chaos and that I trust that chaos will somehow that I'm not one of those people who think that if you have infinite monkeys on infinite typewriters that they'll come up with Shakespeare. I don't believe it. You know.
that's also part of the Solar Punk Manifesto that I found curious. It says that like we do believe in hierarchies, just not in dominator hierarchies, but in collaborative hierarchies. And this whole postmodern notion that we don't need any hierarchies at all is absurd, because you do need to create some structures for functioning and delegating different tasks and organizing the commons, and there needs to be different people taking responsibility, and this can be like also shifting, like what you said the other day as well, um, for politics, right? That there's not a path of becoming a professional politician, but that there's always a rotating system. So everybody needs. Okay, and this is what I like about the pirate paradigm, right?
Yeah.
The pirate paradigm I've been playing with in the context of chaos magic is like everybody in the crew gets to be a captain when the mission is right for what, like the best man for the mission gets to be the captain for the mission, and everybody needs to be a gute Hilfspirat to be a captain as well. So the captainship is not something that's like put on someone forever and ever, but the captain takes the role for a while to lead a mission, but he also needs to be a gute Hilfspirat if somebody else is captain for another mission.
Right. So then it's not. So this leadership role, the captain is not doesn't become your identity. It's it's a it's a role you perform
It's a role
as.
you perform. It's a service role to the crew. Like,
Yeah, but framed as a service role to the crew, you can still also make it your identity. So,
sure.
but it's just a thing to. Indeed, in our culture, we very much do the thing where that he, that or he is the leader, and it's like is really on there. Like that's the that person is now a leader either way. Like you don't get down from there in a way.
Hmm. And there's an interesting point that Cielo is talking about. There's this. It's not the problem of authority or hierarchy, but that we use them for avoidant behavior. So we use them to delegate our own responsibility away, to like give our responsibility away. Oh yeah, the leader can take care of it, right? Like daddy
Yeah,
state, make it safe, make it controlled as well. Like I don't need to take action or responsibility for my shit if I have some authority figure that I can delegate that responsibility to, or blame for not performing in some way, or not making it
right.
safe or secure in some way.
Huh. Yeah.
Mm, good point, good point. But circling back to the identity thing, because I think that's a juicy point, also in terms of like how we are claiming captainship here in this format. I mean, there's an awareness that for the sense of this format, we're pirate captains, right?
Yeah.
And
So you want to hear a why? You want to hear me come up with a why for for doing that?
go ahead.
It's because we're on a mission.
Yeah. What's the mission, Captain?
Yeah. Am I ready to say it? I don't have it ready. I don't have it ready. Huh. What is the mission? What is the mission here? Well, if I had to guess, if I was on the crew and the captain had not told me what the mission was, but I had to guess based on the behavior of the captain.
Oh,
this
okay.
is this was a fun game to play with my mind to tell me what am I looking to achieve here. Um,
You've been on my crew.
yes.
I did I think I did some disclosure of my mission, but maybe not in full for the crew I recruited. Everybody jumped on the ship without knowing what the mission exactly was. So out of observing me for 3 months on the mission, what on the crew, what is it that you infer about the mission?
Well, I was actually looking at what is my own mission.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit looking in another direction for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine that the mission that you have with the Pipilota it's a research vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like the Pipilota is going over the same territory multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So it is looking to get a better map
Mm-hmm.
because the psyche itself is an interesting place, and also to educate
Mm-hmm.
people about the. Or I feel like people are being educated on this journey about an approach to map their own psyches, and then everybody also discovers unique insights that only that pirate would have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And this way, everybody learns from everybody, and you learn from everybody, especially.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say education, though. For me, it's more about facilitation and facilitating a process of self-inquiry and self-discovery. And of course, I have some transmission and some blah blah and the nitty-gritties of the model and the map, but it's more about facilitating self-discovery.
Uh-huh.
And of course, for me, like filling the maps and the gaps.
Yeah, that's it.
Because as you said, we're all just parts of the puzzle, right? Parts of the
Yeah.
fractal,
We
parts of
need
the
language.
mandala.
So yeah. So I feel like everybody instructing people with the language to give a context to their inner exploration.
Mhm.
Does
A
serve.
framework, a framework.
Yeah, but that's it. That's education. So yeah, it's not about the education, but it is yeah.
I think like
That's one of the things.
education has such a like.
I'm not. Hold on. I don't know. There's a misunderstanding here. There's a misunderstanding here. I said one thing. It is not like, oh, that's the mission. The mission's education. I would never uh,
Now the mission
present
is
it
liberation. The mission is liberation. Play like I coined it
liberation. Yes. Okay.
playful liberation of consciousness. So deprogramming,
Well, yeah.
unfucking. But I do have another side mission. Do why I'm running this quest. Like my
Is it agitate, educate, organize?
something like that.
Is it? But that's also in it. That's it's like this is also a pattern that's in there. That's the anarchist playbook.
Yeah.
And then you have turn on, tune in,
Drop out,
drop out, find the others.
find the others. Yeah.
The Timothy Leary
The
playbook.
Timothy Leary playbook. Oh, yeah. Like
And they
that.
also overlap a little bit because in order to organize, it's good to find the others. In order to educate and in order to agitate, turn on.
Yeah, agitate the turn on is the agitation, right? It's like being
Educate, tune
turned.
in, yeah,
It's like
drop out.
drop out, escape, like get out of the mainstream narrative collective trance and get out of the
And order,
disempowerment that
right.
comes with that.
And here we can come back. We can use this lens also to look at Substack.
Okay.
So for many people, they were agitated. They educate themselves, so they're dropping out of meta.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally dropping out of the meta.
Mm-hmm.
And they arrive at Substack. So now my question is the Substack just another sieve for the machine? Or is Substack part of educate and organize? Is Substack find the others? Or is Substack those who falsely believe they're free are most hopelessly enslaved of all? And
Well,
I'm and I'm,
we
I'm
have to
and I'm
fuck
not here
around to
to
find out, I guess.
exactly. I'm simply holding the question. I don't need an answer to this question yet.
Yes.
I'm also happy to fuck around and find out for the moment. But I will
What
keep my skepsis
what
because it
what
served me well in the past.
yeah, what convinced me, what you said, that's one important bit, is that you own your contact list, right? You can continuously export your contact list,
Yeah.
and every person you've connected with their emails, and you can reach them via the fucking email. This is something that
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
they own. So even if you fuck off from Substack or you get deplatform, if you did the due diligence of exporting your contact list regularly, you still own all the finding the
Right.
others that you did.
So as
Hello,
so if
Aaron.
so as a for the union, for the Substack Writers Union, I would offer also the demand or proposal first, but can become a demand, um, that there is a clear API for us to export our content as well. And that it's very simple, preferably that it's simple, like that we can use plugins to even completely replace our front page with another front page if we want, and that we basically have access to just use different CMS if we want. You know what I mean? It's nobody's going to use, like the very minority is going to use it, but just that it's on, or have it somehow give us access to the actual files, give us access to a shared folder on the server that you can see your markdown files, you can see your CSS, you can see it, you can
So
copy
you
this.
need to start writing a list of demands.
Yeah, that you can, so that if I want, I can take my folder, I can take my database entry, and I can just host it on my own server. That it's very simple to just like take this container and host it because there are compatible uh, file web server plugins. That's about the depth of my knowledge on this topic. Okay.
So Cielo is saying that thank you, captains, for the hidden treasures. She's dropping out.
Yes, very.
It's
Thank you for being here.
lovely to have you. We have a new viewer though. Aaron Force joined. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know Aaron yet, but maybe you want to drop us a little message on the chat and let us know where you're
Liberation
tuning in
happens towards
from.
education and discovery.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah, exactly. None but
I guess
ourselves can free our minds, but we can help each other.
we can help each other. We can help each other to free our minds, to break ourselves out of the prisons of our own
Yeah.
making.
But we don't have to try to help each other because I just when we were doing the playbooks, we had the anarchist playbook, we had Tim Leary playbook, and I remember Ram Dass playbook.
Okay, what's the Ramdas playbook?
There is nothing you can do for me except work on yourself,
Hmm.
and there's nothing I can do for you except work on myself.
I'm not convinced about that.
And that exactly, but it's a really
Wasn't it Ramdas also who said like we're just walking each other home?
that does sound like I'm less sure about that one, but I'm yeah, yeah. I,
I think I saw that somewhere today in one of the posts on notes that somebody made a reference to Ramdas and also quoted that. I think it was the girl I sent you, the how was it, the notorious imp or something.
yeah.
Uh, she's gonna
Uh,
be a recruit from the Recent Liberation Front. I already see that happening.
okay. Yeah. So
Uh,
Aaron is here for a moment, and yeah, exactly. We're doing that. We're looking for we are finding the others right now. We're tuning in, and finding the others.
yeah, so this sort of transmissions that we're doing here is about putting out our signal for others to tune in to see if they vibe with us and if they want to join our lunatic lifeboat crew.
Yeah. It's yeah. Join the fleet of It's like pirate radio in a way. Remember pirate radio when you have just like people on the ham radios and just like make a chat room? In a way, I think if people can drop in, it would be fun to make an open format one where you just let people drop in and it's like, okay, like literally ham radio style, um, like a Discord voice chat, but streamed into Substack. You know, that would be great. We could have a Discord, but stream just a video chat, like having the voice chat room in Discord with webcams on, and just stream that onto Substack.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
And
But
Discord,
then only the people that are in our Discord server could join that conversation, and not the Substack people.
yeah, but I mean, you can. Well, yeah, and if you really want to milk your, if you want to milk your site, you can still do make that a perk. Make Discord access a perk for paid subscribers.
Interesting proposal, Captain.
But and like, but I'm
No,
happy to. But you can still do it also for any subscriber. Just include the Discord invite with your
but
subscription
I mean,
email.
we can do some more tryouts like we did on Saturday, right?
But I
Also
don't
with
want to
the
have Discord. I don't want Discord. I want I want this in Matrix. Actually, what I want is for another point for the Substack union is that what we want is to have our DMs. We want to migrate our DMs, or I propose to the rest of the union that we vote about my proposal first before we bring it. I'm just one of the people in the union. I'm not trying to be a leader. I will propose that we add.
you're the single person in the union for now.
Yeah, I make it for now. I make a proposal. Yeah, we're recruiting for people specifically for the Substack union right now. That's why we're here. If you want to join our, just we'll DM you later. So my proposal first is that we move the DM structure to matrix, so that there is that we have element or something integration with Substack, so that you can make chat rooms and host threads. Because right now the DM system of Substack is a mess. Like your personal, everybody has. We're already almost there. They're building something, but I want them to stop doing what they're doing there and just when you click messages, you just kind of drop into a into a into a matrix chat room,
I don't know.
or a list of matrix chat rooms where you where you can start your own or join somebody else's, the same way you have it now, but with matrix as the back end, and then you can have voice chat rooms, and those can then be sent into the live stream. This is my technical proposal. Or at least I want to talk with people who know more about it to come up with a better technical proposal. But that's what I'm asking, is to be put in touch with the people who would build this, and like, hi, I want to help you make a better one. I volunteer some of my time to the Substack tech tech staff
Solid.
as a user.
I'm curious if Aaron has any questions for us. So like that curiosity. That sounds interesting. She says. Do you have any other questions or something that you might want us to go into to check out if this is a vibe you want to continue tuning into?
Like ideology,
Yeah, like you say, we're anarchists. Erisian anarchist.
And if anybody asks, I'm living in Portugal and everything's legal here. I should move to Portugal just for that. So I have more. So I have free speech. Yeah, it's
You don't
wild.
have free speech right now?
I mean, sometimes you would end up.
So we can talk more openly about psychedelics and psychedelics exploration.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Because because and I care more about it recently, because recently we're getting into more draconian political styles here in more like the rest of Europe.
You want more community and conversation options, says
Yeah,
Aaron.
exactly. I'm sure that's why you end up tuning in here. So this is the thing, and I know this is about live streams. I've been doing live streams for since 2011, when it was just livestream.com. You know, when we had like a diesel or something, no petrol aggregate, generator
Mm-hmm.
at an Occupy camp. We needed
Mm.
electricity to do live streaming with like a. It was so difficult. I'm just sitting here with the telephone. I'm just looking at my phone. We're just chatting on the phone. This is so easy. But I can do it the hard way too.
Like on Saturday, we tried out the SMTP stream. Was it right?
Yeah, and there you can. So there we had a Jitsi call, and this was for me. I feel like this is very interesting.
Yeah. So
But it's a little bit more work.
it's more what?
It's more work,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more flexible. But it doesn't need to be, because we've made like I would just wish to have like a fully peer like a fully Fediverse integrated Substack, like with PeerTube, and just do because there's some really interesting good qualities already, and it would mean that the money that we circulate amongst ourselves, that a cut of that is going to develop peer-to-peer post-collapse software infrastructure, because that's what we're going to need. What we're looking at is a collapse, and look who are a part of the collapse: Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, everything, OpenAI, everything, all of this. Either way, right now we're going through a societal transformation, and at the end of it, none of those companies will remain. Like, they cannot be trusted. And I
And they
really,
cannot operate once collapse happen. Like their operations are also going to crumble. And that's this thing we're trying to set up with the Y radio, right? The Y radio with
yeah.
Cosmic Customer Care support. Right now it's just like a streaming radio situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is to set it up in a way that when collapse happens, we can hijack a frequency, a radio frequency as well, to keep comms, decentralized comms running, and to also create a do-it-yourself guide for how
Yeah.
to set up your own local radio so that communities can still be in
Yeah.
touch with one another and organize and coordinate
Exactly.
resistance, and coordinate as well new community structures and new community building and decentralized networks.
Yeah. Yeah. In a way that it's like that. It's like we're simply preemptively, we're preppers, but on a network level. And it's yeah, we're just preparing.
Preparing.
It is solar punk to prepare for the worst by doing your best. Because it's funny, I would do this even if we were not doing collapse. Like, this would be a good idea, even if there was no trouble. It would still be a better world. But because we're experiencing such trouble, there is finally motivation to start working on a better world. I'm here for it. In a way, this is my favorite time. I've been waiting for this moment. Oh, finally, everybody is on board with that. We need to change stuff on a fundamental level.
And
I
that it
have
needs to collapse
been
so
waiting
that
for
we can
that.
actually create something new, because this system is so fucked
Yeah.
that it cannot be changed from within anymore.
And it is my proposal as member of the Substack Writers Union that we make sure that Substack is a vessel for that, and otherwise it will merely be a blueprint. It'll be just one more dead relic that we evolve out of. But I feel like
I
it's
don't
early enough
know.
in this enshittification cycle that Substack could be the model for veering off of that destructive cliff of profit before everything else, and that it actually could become the place where, rather than having polarization, tension, and shittification, you have coming together and a regenerative future where polarization is dissolved into solidarity and co-creation and innovation, real innovation, actual innovation, innovation that is integrating all of the already present innovations rather than trying to get just ahead of somebody else and then use venture capital to corner the market and then squeeze it. It's so silly. It's so it's anyway. I don't want to get.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like we're gonna still explore and fuck around and find out to see what the potential of the Substack is, but I'm not sure at this moment if it's worth investing that much fucks and reforming their business model and like building a union and
You don't
lobbying
have
for
to. You don't have
Substack.
to. But I feel that call. I see that mission.
Yeah, well, no,
Because that's for me. That's the consequence. If I'm going to take part here, I'm going to take part. I'm not going to like half-ass it and then get to say I told you so if it doesn't work. I tried that before. It doesn't work. I'll be the one. I'll be telling myself I told you so. Like no, no,
thanks,
no.
thanks,
Okay.
Aaron, for dropping in. Just let us know where
Yes.
you're tuning in from. That would be a curiosity. Are you
Yeah.
in the Europes or are you in the meltdown of the United States
Just
scenario?
prepping for a meeting in 5, so I imagine USA.
Hmm. Yeah, right. It's late for a Europe meeting. Um. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Hope we keep in contact. Stay tuned. We're gonna also work on formats where people can drop in and have conversations.
I unironically think that this is also one of those like that we surprised we'll be surprised how little interaction Europeans and Americans have with each other in real time, and it would be very nice to pick time slots where we can have that.
Saturdays, Sundays.
Yeah, but I also just like this 7 o'clock, 7 till 9:30, perfect for me. Uh, GMT plus that is.
Anyhow, we were onto something here because before we went online and started ranting about Substack, we actually set the intention to talk about how like interesting times to live in, times of collapse,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you show up? How do you show up for these times? Like, what is
Yeah,
the work needed to
great question.
prepare and
Mm-hmm.
to show up your best? Give
Well,
it all your best to
that's it.
actually
That's how. That's how. But give it all your best. That if you're gonna do it, you give it all your best. If you give your fuck, you give it really. No half-assing.
like full fuck
Professionalism.
investment,
Huh?
full fuck investment.
Yeah. Go hard or go home. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. It's not the weird dip a little bit around everywhere. No, at this point there it's like, okay, well, you know, come hell or high water.
So let's talk about that for a hot second. Like, what does it mean for the weirdos to turn pro?
Yeah, did you dare to be radical?
Hmm.
Because you get full permission from everybody. It's like, okay, fine. Like, yeah, no, all the people we've been entrusting before, oh my god, whoopsie, sorry, please, go for it. Like, show us what you got. Like, be all of yourself. Let your freak flag fly and discover some corner. Probably, yeah. Who has any mad ideas that might just work? Is it a crazy enough idea that it might just work in such crazy times? That's the I think that's the point. At least easy for me to say.
Well, yeah, you have embraced your madness quite well, quite openly. I enjoy that about you a lot, and it's also for me the mission that I ascribe to when I set out on my mission, which is the actual mission to build a chaos monastery, like some 6 years ago, and everything I have been doing with the Ormec journeys and the Pipilota and chaos surfing project is about like finding the crew with which I can create a chaos monastery.
Hmm.
Um, and that came out like the Ordo Dea Discordia is a little cabal that I got part of some 6, 7 years ago. And one of the tenets of this cabal is openly live your madness. like delirationem tuam vive, right? Because a lot of Discordians hide behind pseudonyms. They're like great internet shitposter, meme lords, and, and like they create a ton of funny writing and critique and everything. But in real life, they just go to the office and be just like normal folks. They put on their masks and they they just live their madness out on the internet behind a pseudonym. And the Ordo Dea Discordia the Chaos Monks of the Ordo Dea Discordia stands for like openly living your own madness. And when you said
Mask
like
off time. Yeah, there you go.
when you said about like radicalization, right? I had something coming up today, no, the other day when I posted on Facebook. I read those posts of the weirdos need to turn pro. And I shared it on Blue Sky, cool. I shared it here, cool. I shared it in the Discord, cool. I know my weirdos are there, right? These networks are more weirdos. But my Facebook network is not full of weirdos. There are some
Yeah, but
good
that's
weirdos in there,
Mhm.
but there's also a lot of normie people. And when I
But that
posted
makes
that, I
Facebook
felt
a
like
good place. Like in a way, we are that slim sliver of a generation who still has a credible presence on Facebook and is ready to embrace the cutting edge thing. And maybe I'm
I
already
get still a lot
completely.
of heebie-jeebies around. Like, and I mean, I've been weird on Facebook, like I'm promoting
But you
cows
can,
workshop and
but
stuff.
still sometimes post something because you need to be able to see when the tide is turning a little bit on Facebook. If you feel like, oh, there's some space for it, then you have to either A, be very suspicious of your current algorithm on Facebook, or B, it's a sign of the times.
What I'm getting
Or C.
there is this heebie-jeebies of I'm being so fucking weird. I'm not gonna be taken seriously. Right? That's the program that kind of like kicks
Right.
in
Yeah.
in a sense, and I'm pigeonholing myself. The more I radicalize, because I've seen myself radicalize, and the more I hang out with you, the more I radicalize too.
I'm a good influence.
And then I get this. Oh my god! I'm trying to build a coaching business, and I'm spouting like you called me out on like, oh, you're fully embracing the shitso posting. And I'm like, if I'm doing shitso posting and people just perceive me as this like lunatic mad woman, who's gonna hire me for coaching services, right? Um, it's a very small niche
If
to be
you but
engaged
if you can contain it, if you write it well, and it seems to work for you,
with.
then who's gonna doubt it? And who it doesn't matter. It doesn't
No,
matter if anybody's gonna doubt it. Let them doubt it. It's but
I think you're spot on this, right? We need to show up with our full, authentic, weird selves. And this is a call out I made as well in that post, right? The turning the weirdos pro, in the sense of this is the people that are tapped into a deeper multidimensional layer of reality experience, and we need
people
those
want to
people
get there.
to actually brainstorm innovative new solution and to dare to do the weird thing, to dare to do the out of the box thing, to actually unpredictable, right? Remaining unpredictable as well.
But with integrity and respect and love and wisdom, or at least a taste for wisdom, so that you know how to orient yourself, you know how to clean up your mess.
Integrity, responsibility. But I think this the thing about unpredictability is a hot button topic, because the more the algorithms take
Yeah,
over and the
yeah.
more the robots take over, the only chance to actually get some action in without being pre-monitored and without like your action plan being like sacked by the machines before you even execute it,
That
is
they
to
already know what
remain
you're going to do before you know
unpredictable.
it.
What?
That you haven't even decided your plan yet, and they already know it.
Yeah.
You've been, yeah, don't get minority reported by the algorithm. Is to indeed fully like
But
be.
that's where we're heading, right? That's where we're
Yeah,
heading. It's already happening a
it's
bit.
already happened. Yeah, it's already happened. That's why
The
I'm.
mi-
This is why I'm. You're like, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, and the algorithm is constantly after you. You know, so you have to be. You have to be, but being ahead of it requires unpredictableness.
non-linearity, unpredictableness, random factor.
Freedom. It requires liberation.
It requires liberation.
No chain to jiggle. That there's nothing to distract you with because you're on your mission. That's Captain. Know when it's a shit show.
No one
And
is a shit show. What do you
yeah,
mean by
yeah,
that?
don't get sidetracked. Don't be don't don't be a Fallout bubblehead. Like getting sidetracked by side quests forever. Or yeah, know what are useful tangents. So
Mm. Some tangents reveal the usefulness just like after you've explored them.
yeah, no, I know, but yeah, I was trying to come up with a justification for a failed metaphor. I didn't want to admit that I was being cringe, and I thought I could build something around it, but it didn't work. I want to go back to 1999 when everything seemed to work.
What did you post the other day about cringe?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I posted earnestness is cringe. Cringe is earnestness. But
What is earnestness for you?
yeah, it's like when you when you're well-meaning, deliberate, like really trying to show up as good, but it's contrived and it feels like it takes work. It feels like there's effort in it, and that makes it charmless. Even if it's well executed, it's not juicy, and
Mm.
it's missing something. And whereas cringe is vulnerable, is exposed, it's human, it's it's relatable, but in a painful way. It's like it's embarrassing, but that's because yeah, it's not embarrassing, but it's
Like running into a glass door when you spot a cute
yeah,
guy.
exactly. It's in a way, yeah, 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 yeah. That's exactly, and that's endearing. That's real. That's human, and that's you can't fake that. You can't,
And embarrassment, like embarrassment is also, if like you own it, it's also a way for ego death.
right, and that's
Like,
neuroplasticity.
yeah, like to make a total fool of yourself and then not try to overbook it to like save face, but just like own that, like stay and own that moment of like genuine fucking embarrassment, and then something dies and gets to be reborn. Like it's just like a shock to the ego. And if you just like don't find a strategy to save face somehow and just like raw dog it.
Woo! Growth is in there somewhere. Yeah, even just your ability to be present with it and not run and hide is yeah.
I'm curious. I'm curious what you meant with schizo posting, though. I was not familiar with the term schizo posting, and I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
So it's yeah, schizo posting is when you like really like, I don't know. I hear myself say like twice in one sentence. I have no idea. I clearly don't know. Or I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to come up with I don't want to sound sure about something that I'm wrong about when somebody else is gonna be like, oh, actually, here's the cool people definition of how you're actually supposed to answer that question. You posted cringe by coming up with the wrong definition. Okay, so what is
That didn't make much
schizophrenia?
sense for me.
No, that was not an explanation of schizophrenia. That was just an inner reflection of what I'm running up against as I'm trying to answer the question.
You already formulated an answer, and the answer contained 2 times like.
Yeah, I wasn't formulating an answer. I was just caught. I was caught with my pants down, as you are when you are bare-assed. I was bare-assed.
You're embarrassed. Why is that?
Yeah, because I was trying to come up with an answer. I wanted to have an answer.
Mm.
I think that's what the like is for. It's no, I'm not thinking. I haven't. I'm talking. Like, like, like.
It's horrible. It's for me. It's also such a big filler. When I rewatch the recording the last time, I was like, oh my god! Like, how many likes can you put into one sentence, woman? What the fuck is this about?
So that's why I'm pausing. What is
Yes,
schizophrenia?
pausing. Take a breath.
So when schizophrenia is when you have no, when in a way uh, your undermining of the faculties of sense making is uh, is an essential part of the content, but it doesn't seem to be the point. Like you're really going at something. You're really reaching for something. You're really trying to describe something. But in order to describe it, you have to venture into the realm off the map of sense making. So you have to go where here be dragons, and only those with ears to hear it can follow, and that's okay. I accept not being understood,
Mm.
but it's essential. This is what I have to say. But sir, it's gibberish. And yet I have to say it. And one good excuse or compensation for that gibberish is it is very hard to fake. It is
Mm.
much harder to fake than sense making text.
Mm. 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 Because like it's a more raw transmission of like stream of consciousness into the page, right?
Yeah, and it reveals your twists and turns and your pathologies and your schisms, your the way that your particular mirror is correct.
Mm.
Shows different angles.
Gibberish can also be a Discordian strategy to break some jail minds.
And it makes your data stream harder to train on. If you become capable of generating like mimetic hazard text or no,
Mimetic
but
hazard.
it's like no, there's like there's like people had there is an actual word for this, like spiked spiked data, like toxic data that is deliberately structured to corrupt robots that try to ingest it, or it's a way to like counteract. So it's one thing that if you have a website and you can put like a little robots.txt in your parent directory of your website, so that if the web crawler comes and it sees the text, it says, "Oh, I'm not allowed to come here. Like I cannot index this data." Okay, I pass on to the next server. But there's of course robots that are like, "Oh yeah, robots that text. Yeah, I'm not going to care about this. I'm just still going to go in and grab everything and go." And then you place data in there that wrecks that like poisons the data set.
So we need a little bit more of Discordian operations to feed into ChatGPT.
It would be very interesting to develop the human level skill to generate this data simply by speaking. That you manage to talk in a way that corrupts the data set if a robot tries to imitate you. No, but that's very difficult. But I can imagine that simply knowing how to express your craziness then becomes a way that people can know you, and also to know you from your avatar.
Know you from your avatar. We're circling
To be
back
able to
to what
discern.
we started this conversation with, right?
Yeah,
The simulacrum,
yeah.
the
There's a Turing
persona.
test. Like it's the real Turing test isn't can you tell if you're speaking to a computer behind the wall or to a human being? No, it's if it's your friend behind the wall, can you tell if it's your friend or a computer?
Oh, this is interesting. This is something my ex-flatmate, when I shared with her the proposal of me becoming the voice of the Loop AI,
Yeah.
it was like, wow, I'm super curious to see if I can discern if I'm talking to you or to the AI.
Yes.
If it
Yeah.
has my voice and my personality, like can you actually, somebody that knows me, can they actually discern
Yeah.
if they're talking to the robot or to the OG?
And I could pose the philosophical determination that I could not fault somebody who then decided that if they could not tell between a computer and the person, that they would stop hanging out with that person uh, because there's no need.
It's like, I don't need, nah,
I,
nah, nah.
it's
I
like
don't think so.
the one I have at home is just as good. It's like
I have a copy of you. I mean, this is
yeah,
this is what Mars proposed, right?
yeah.
Is
Or
that
even the like so. Uh, sorry, sorry. No, you go. You go. You go. I can keep this one.
Mars proposed that the mission of using my voice and my personality to infuse the Loop AI with like a front, like a human interface, would be to clone the Cosmic Customer Care Service and export it to places where they cannot afford coaching or they cannot afford like
Yeah,
psychedelic support, and so broadening the scope of service. And I was
that's
like,
very funny.
okay, I'm
To
down
make
for
a
that.
like yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, of course. That is like a VR chat bot, like a but it's as yourself. That's hilarious. That's a very good idea. Yeah, but
There
it's
will
like
be a
if
lot of copies of myself going around.
and it's like did you watch the Rick and Morty episode where they have like Jerry in the low grade simulation? In a way, it's like that. If you have so the models can be quantized, right? So you have like the model that contains the full data, but you can have like smaller uh, because if like a hologram, it's a smaller hologram of the same data set. So you can have a model that, for instance, I have this Android phone and there is models running locally on it for voice recognition. Doesn't do a very good. It does an okay job. The one on on my phone is faster. The one on my laptop is even faster because yeah. So there's like a bigger model. So in a way, um, now imagine the model of you that is running. Like perhaps there is one that really simulates you, like that it's simply most people won't be able to tell. Like one that would fool your mom. I think in my case it would be quite possible, but as part of that is because my mom doesn't really ask me challenging questions to get to like to get underneath the skin in a way.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, my mom neither. Like, I think the version of me my mom knows is quite a simulacrum. Also, it's just like a bit of a carbon copy, palatable version of me, and this has been
Yeah.
since I was a teenage. That started as a teenager because it was not safe to
Hmm.
show all of me.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine it. I've seen experiences like that in my in the
And because
various guises of my home life as well.
my mom, and I assume your mom, neither are not the kind of like deep diver people that are curious enough and interested to explore mind and madness and the fringes of consciousness. So they just don't have the kind of access to their own psyche. So they can only meet you the at the level they are at, right?
Yeah,
So if they have not taken any deep plunges within yourself, they cannot handle taking a plunge into the ocean of someone else either.
maybe. Why am I so preoccupied with the idea of getting an avatar? In a way, it's because I would like to be known, but I would like to give my family members an opportunity to interact with me in a way that I can disown. I want a simulation of myself that will tell the truth, so I don't have to.
Oh. Okay. What?
I'm not saying this is not my final answer. This is not my conclusion of like, oh, now I realize this is my real drive in life. It's just this is one desire I have about it.
So like, okay, I'm gonna be like full weird on the internet and have recordings, and then have my family watch it, and then I
But
don't have to see and face the response of it. They
no,
can
it's
just
also
like
a
have
joke
their
because
private response.
but there's of course a real reason, and that's for prepping because we're still prepping for the collapse.
Mhm.
So if I organize, if I agitate, educate, organize, and now somehow I don't want to be like black bagged and replaced by a robot and have nobody notice. So I need to have like a dead man switch situation going. I need to be somehow yeah, I need to be if like yeah, something. I need to prepare. I need to, and not because I really need to prepare for it, but because preparing for it is a to me is an act of comedy. To me, it's satire. To really prepare for that as if it could really happen is a form of critique.
To prefer what exactly?
Hmm? To
The
prepare some kind of a
avatarization.
countermeasure against being replaced by a digitally generated model, being replaced by a model, by like if we're talking by Blade Runner, like be no or Battlestar Galactica. I don't want to that I'm not one of the cyborgs.
Mm.
How do you know that I'm not one of the robots? How do you know that I'm not a robot? I remember
Mm.
writing a poem about this. Like, how do you know that you're not dead already, and that you're not already just that your consciousness hasn't been planted into a uh, model inside a robot already that is simply programmed to ignore the little glitches or things that don't make sense or the fact that there's that the you know what I mean. Well, how can you trust your perception of yourself as a human being? Well, one, I can trust it because I know that or I think I know that the technology to do this does not exist. But what about 400 years from now?
But it's not that far away either, right?
Yeah, I'm
I
saying 400 years.
I saw an advertisement the other day. I think it was on Instagram or Reel. They have now like really big live robots, like robot girlfriends that you can buy for 50K. That have like skin interface, and they're running an AI model that you can program with whatever personality. So the tech is already there.
Yeah,
You know, you have
you
the
can.
robot, and you could now use all the recordings that are available from me
Mhm.
and make an AI with my voice and put it into a fucking robot. That's already possible.
Yes, exactly. So how do you know I'm not a robot?
Well, for now, those robots are very stiff still, and their mimic and their gesture is very stiff.
Yeah,
And I suppose still the language
right.
will still
So
be a bit more robotic. And that is where we're coming back to the shit posting, right? The
the
shiso
less
posting
robotic
to.
you are, the more fluid your movements, the more the juicier you show up in the world, the more expensive it becomes to simulate you. That's the game. You just have to be
That's
ahead
again.
of it. Just stay ahead of that curve. Okay. I just that's the best argument for showing up in your full power of crazy creativity and all that you can be. Do it. Give the world a show. Because at this point, the most authentic mask you can wear is yourself. And it's the only one that they can't take and put on somebody else and fake you.
Mm.
Because everybody will know. Oh no, no. There's no simulating that person. If you're simulatable in a way fundamentally, I can't trust people who are simulatable because
That
they could be replaced by robots.
that's an
I don't want to
interesting
work
point.
with no pirates on my ship who could be robots.
You have to be weird enough to not be a robot.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're really expensive to run to have this weird a robot.
Yeah, for sure. For fucking sure. And I think that bit of trust has already been an issue for me for a very long time, right? And as we're the
The
sort of
NPC.
divide between like neurotypical and neurospicy,
Hmm.
that it's very much easier for me to like trust and vibe with the neurospicy folks, because in a way they're more raw, and if they are a mask, they're more raw and authentic, versus a lot of neurotypicals that are still running sort of like standard programs, standard politeness stuff, conventions and of interactions, and the interactions just like feel
And
superficial.
I remember the Ram Dass quote that you brought. We're just walking each other home, and in a way it feels like there's too much hand holding involved for me with them for that.
Mm. For me, I think it's difficult to trust those kind of people because I cannot get a sense of the realness and the rawness. And it's easier to trust the lunatics, and I'm more attracted to hanging out with the lunatics and the mad ones,
Yeah.
because even though sometimes it's incoherent and unpredictable and difficult, there is just this realness about their frequency.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for if you know what somebody's desire is, or maybe it's hard to know what somebody's desire is. But I'm thinking now still about the NPC meme. It's like people came up with this NPC meme, but we're about to experience the NPC meme in reality, or we're about to at least need the NPC meme as a serious thing. It's very unserious to already think that there are real NPCs just because people got the vaccine or whatever. But we have to keep in mind that yeah that this that no, but I'm doing it as a satire. It's I don't really want to end up in that reality, and that's why I'm committed to the solar punk path. So in a way, prepping for this is just to be like, oh, it's that bleak, or to make it tangible of what the risks we are running by a not being our full selves, and B, handing over control of our data to for-profit entities that we don't have ownership of. This is a like almost a crime against humanity, like a failure. It's a moral failure to hand over the future uh, to the oligarchy. It's not the your soul won't get away. You will not get into heaven. Like, sorry, but if you could have done something else, we're gonna. You know, this is why it's like a karmic choice.
There's another series on this dystopic scenario coming up for me. I don't know if you saw that. It only ran 2 seasons and then got discontinued, but I really enjoyed the proposition. Dollhouse.
I don't
Did
know.
you see that one?
But
The
all the best
proposition.
ones, all the series that cut too close to the bone, get canceled because, like,
So
oh, you don't want people to. Ooh, no, no,
so
no.
listen to this scenario. Dollhouse. They invented a technology where they could, and I think we're already close to that as well, where they map your brain and then download the whole of your synaptic data and memories into a hard drive
Yeah, yeah.
so that your personality gets saved on a hard drive. And then they wipe your brain and they can imprint it with whatever new download personality and skill set, like kind of like Matrix style.
Mm-hmm.
And then what this company does is that you can make a contract for 5 years to hand over your body as a doll to this company,
Mm-hmm.
and they pimp you out as, in a way, like organic robots with
Yeah.
any imprinted personality you want. So like for the rich dudes to like, okay, I want an adventurous girlfriend what I can go hunting with and da 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 da. So
Yeah, yeah.
you download the print and then you hire that for a weekend.
That's wild.
And that is really wild. And then there was like this one doll that's sort of like in the
Okay,
when they keep it
I'll watch
in
it.
the
I'll watch it.
yeah, it gets really fucking dystopic because at
I
some
bet.
point
I
they
bet.
developed this technology where you can like wipe everybody's memory like with the pistol sort
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing.
Like in Men in Black.
Oh
And then
nah,
also, if you like this, I also recommend Severance. I think it was called. Yeah.
didn't hear about that either. No.
Oh, watch it. Watch it. It's great. It's about this, like this, but at the office. Like you go to work and you just like whoop. You come out of work whoop, and then you're like,
Yeah, it's the same principle, right? Like robots for hire, and you can
yeah,
imprint that. Then we become the bioorganic robot that runs just like any AI model you want to have it for a while, and you pimp out your body while your personality is like stacked on a fucking hard drive.
yeah. But so this has also also crazy. And what I like is the it's reality. Reality is such a trip. So amazing, so beautiful. Nature, so beautiful. It's so wonderful to be human. It's the essence. It's epic. It's just epic. I really there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the whole universe, in the whole galaxy. There's nothing. We get a
I don't
front row
know.
seat to everything. This is it. Being a human is the loveliest possible experience. What a divine grace to be a human. Yeah, this is really a
That's
gift.
so ironic, right? So my dad used to say also that there's a queue of souls to incarnate on this playground. It's like there's not enough capacity for everyone to get around, so like you have to wait and for to getting a body and incarnate. And then we come here and we get like fucking traumatized in the way of growing up. And so many of us suffer this like I don't even want to be on this fucking planet. It's so hard to be on this planet. So much trauma, so much pain, so much suffering.
But there's a Q. That's such an amazing concept. What a crazy. I wish I had heard that sooner. I'm gonna incorporate that. I'm gonna tell people that. That's crazy. I believe it. There's a
There's a
Q.
queue to get into this game.
There's a Q to get into the game. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the argument my father also gave me for I have to fulfill my role as a biological model so I can give more souls the opportunity to incarnate.
No, but I do want to but look, if there's a queue right now, I think it's not going to be just a first come first serve queue. I think it's to each their own queue. I think it's who do you match with queue. So I think that I'm very interested to get to know my children.
Mm, yeah, that was an argument my dad made as well, in a way that more advanced souls need also the proper setting and like Startbedingungen to incarnate on Earth and to have a good chance to continue develop at the level they are developing. Mm.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I mean, if we
Makes it more realistic.
entertain the starseed paradigm, there would be probably, and this is like my cosmic carriages, right? That there are service positions available where special people, the special ones get recruited into. Like, okay, you want to go down to Earth? Yeah, we have like a contingent of, say, 50,000, 100,000 bodies coming up, but it's a special service mission you have to fulfill.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, indeed, it is. Yeah, it's all in the game. It's all in the game. That's all.
And I'm hearing what you said once, like, I only get sent to Earth in times that are where
Like,
my specific frequency is needed, like in these times of transitions, these times of upheaval.
I believe that. Yeah, why not? I feel like I was never surprised about this. I never had this sense of like, oh, I wish I could have had a normal life, but um, instead we're born in interesting times. It's like no, the first time I heard that when I was like a teenager or something like somebody said, oh yeah, this Chinese saying, may be born in interesting times. I'm like, oh, I'm part Chinese. It's like I don't know. It was always like it spoke to me.
Yeah.
That was never a surprise.
For me, neither. It feels like since I was very young, there was already the sense of shit is gonna get weird, and you're here for exactly that weird shit. And when I started hearing the discourse about collapse, to be honest, there was not a sense of dread around it, but more a sense of excitement of like, yeah, this is exactly what I came here for, right? To charter the course through collapse, to navigate that, to plant seeds for some new civilization configuration.
For that, I'm not quite ready to embrace. I'm at that point I just make music. Then I'm like, oh well, no, I don't know what, but I feel like somehow then it's just about keeping the spirit high. Then there's nothing to do but ride it.
I don't know if I've shared this with you, but when I was a kid, I had a recurring dream. I
Hmm.
dreamed this dream like, I don't know how many times, but more than 5 times, and it was always the same fucking dream. And I was 10 or something.
Hmm.
And in this dream, I was an adult, midlife adult, living alone in a big city. I don't know exactly doing what, but at some point, like bombs start falling and sort of like apocalypse scenario on the city, and then an angel appears. And I mean, I was in a Catholic paradigm, so it was naturally that whatever messenger this was appeared in the form of an angel, giving me a task to find the others, to find 5 people. Yes, very specifically, 5 people I needed to find to complete my mission.
Law of fives.
Hail Eris.
Was this before you had
I was fucking 10. I didn't know anything about Discordianism. I was just a kid. I didn't really know. Like, this dream was really distressful, and it was always the same. And then I went on a mission, and I went to the Middle East first, and there I found 2 people from the people that I needed to find, and it was a pair of siblings, young kids as well. And then the dream would end. I never find the other 3. I always just find 2 out of 5, and then the dream would end. But it was always exactly the same script, exactly the same scenario, and I dreamed this dream several times. I don't know. I don't remember how many, but it was that.
Have you been to the Middle East yet?
No.
I think that's something to do.
And it was some sort of a breakout mission. Like, I had to break these two kids out of some massive compound. I don't know.
Maybe it's not.
But yeah, that dream sort of gave me the sense of, since I was a little kid, is that I'm here on a mission. Like, it's not just a, hey, enjoy life on Terra, fun.
A little vacation from being void.
Go full hedonist, enjoy your body. No, I always had that weight on my shoulder that I've been sent here for a mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Captain,
So yeah. So when you
let's wrap
first
it up.
heard, tune in, turn on, drop out, find the others, you were like, the hairs went up on the back of your head, like, oh, that's the.
Find the others. That's the shtick. That's the shtick. And in a way, I feel I found you. You're one of them.
It's unmistakable. Yeah. And I tell you that it's also like a flower of life, where if you have a little circle and then all the around you. So I can find 5 more,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be the same
Fractals.
5.
No. Fractals.
And
Fractals.
then you get like a whole network, chuk chuk chuk,
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
In a way, it's like Dunbar's number. It's like good to be. It's good to spread out. It's good to like get a diverse range of people in your space because we're building a network.
Yes. And that's why I don't call like-minded people in, but different-minded people in when I make my call out for people.
That's great. Yeah, I
Fuck
don't need
like-minded
like-minded.
people.
I have enough like-minded people right here.
And that is what makes this journey so so enjoyable for me, because I mean, look around the crew that you were part of. Yeah, sure, there's some frequencies that match and that are similar, but they're not like-minded people.
Like-minded, like also this the need to fill the empty space with like.
Oh fuck, it's a mind virus. The like mind virus. Okay, the likes are a glitch.
It's like me, where you're really saying when you say like is like me. Like, I don't have a word right now, but like me, like me.
Be like me.
No, like a
Or how can I be like
it's
you?
like a give me attention. Keep giving me attention, even though I'm not giving you the answer.
Hmm.
Uh,
Not sure about that, no. But
I didn't get. I didn't explain it.
definitely some sort of glitch and virus. This
Mhm.
like
So we can. Well, maybe it's like a ghost. It's a spook, in this Max Stirner sense. It's yeah, a mind virus. It's a brainworm.
brainworm. Yeah.
It's an egregore, and you feed it by saying like when you just could have said nothing.
It's the filling of the gaps, right? Because we are somehow uncomfortable with the silence.
Mhm. With our own silence,
Mm.
but we want to be given attention, given the time, and be the one giving an answer. Blah blah. Okay, I think I'm running out of my. I feel sputtering. I'm out.
Yeah, I think we've been at it also already long enough that
Yeah,
we need to wrap it up.
yeah, yeah.
So, what's the hidden treasure we uncovered today?
We're on a mission. This is that's it. This is. We'll ask the robots. The robots they're getting better at it. They'll give us the.
No, 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 no,
But
no,
this is
no,
genuinely no. This is
no.
genuinely part of my for me. This is part of the strategy. This has been the part of my strategy all along. This is from the start. Like when I was 20, I realized this is I'm happy to just generate the data, collect the data, and at some point, I'll be able to tell the robot, hey, you know what we're looking for. Cut the good bits. Cut the good bits, and we're halfway there. It's already doing it.
I
It's
mean,
already doing it. It just needs to be better at it.
it was quite amazing though from our last take. What bits and bytes it cut out and like tagline it and like
And it's
the
the
juicy
first
bits.
draft. It's the first draft they made of this, so I fully trust this is only gonna get better. But as a member of the union, I'm critical. I want it. I want to. I want to. I want to. I want to own it. I
I
want
want to be able to train that robot to
to.
actually find the treasure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, give me the keys to the algorithm. If you're gonna, yeah, I, your keys, your coins. This is from Crypto Minds. Your keys, your coins. If my wallet is on somebody else's server, those are not my coins. I have, uh, you know, I have to go to court to make them give it to me if they decide not to. And that means, for me, that is a hurdle. And the problem is with that hurdle. The problem with that friction I feel about this unclear and, for me, unsatisfying relationship with my data on Substack is that I feel not free. I don't have my free speech yet. My free speech is when I feel unburdened from worry about what will happen to the data, what will happen to the way I'm presented when that is not under my control, or not under, yeah, when I don't feel that I am in custody. I feel like I'm trusting somebody else
Mm.
with it, and it's too intimate, and it's too much. it, I don't trust anybody with it.
That's
And
that's that's interesting because I don't have that.
well,
I don't have that worry. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm
Maybe.
naive about this, and I
Yeah,
should
I think so.
worry more.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I'm operating more like, it's just fucking data between a torrent of data.
With how good data analysis algorithms are becoming,
Mm.
precisely because you're weird, you stand out.
Mm.
So we're already, it's not so simple.
And at some point, we need to disappear from the
I want to be able to
panopticon.
disappear from it, but I want to be able to take my data and my avatar with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have that power, then because the Substack guys, the Substack bros, they are kind of saying, oh, but we have look. The problem with Meta is their incentive structure. They serve ads. We serve writers. Um, our they say, look, our income is from our slice of your subscriber fee. So it is in our best interest to make this a good platform for subscribers and where you are publishing, because the more money you make, the more money we make. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to say this. Okay, great. So they made an algorithmic decision. So the algorithm on your scroll notes is maximizing for paying subscriber counts. So the more, in a way, it is a logical thing to aim for, because it does mean that your posts that are most likely to get liked, or that are most likely to result in people subscribing to you, are gonna end up doing numbers. Stuff does numbers because people subscribe to you on here. So that's I get that decision, but it did have me. I don't know. I remain cautious about this whole situation. I read a lot of science fiction. Okay,
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. My
the
my
road to hell
brain
is
is
paved
not
with good
my
intention.
brain is not loaded with too much dystopic science fiction scenarios.
Is there any other kind? Like, yeah, no, we are. In
Mm.
fact, I had a scenario in mind to write one myself, but I didn't gain access to my creativity. I didn't trust myself to make it happen.
Well, I would suggest to aim your creativity rather at writing solar punk novels and invest your creative, active imagination magic into those scenarios rather than dystopic scenarios.
Yeah, because yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, because that's so powerful. That's a power we have, right?
Yeah,
To to engage our imaginations, create narratives, create words, and the words are spells.
narrative is
Um,
definitely a trigger word on Substack. I feel like everybody's talking about narrative. Everybody's here storytelling in the hopes of doing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but fair game. I mean, and we need to be doing that.
No, that's why I'm glad to be here. I'm definitely, this is feels like this is where a conversation is happening. Like, once there was an excuse to be on Twitter because that was where the conversation was happening, but the conversation happening here is more interesting.
Yes. Yes. I feel the conversation here radicalizing me as well.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm finding more and more people, yeah, speaking the stories and speaking the scenarios that I've been sensing for a while and have only had few people to talk to about, or that were feeling the same way about scenarios of civilization collapse and the urgency to prepare for them. And it's been amazing to
And the
find
joy of that.
the joy of that.
Like,
Yes.
finally, we are all on the same page. We get to reimagine the world. Finally, we get to see. It's like remember the joke like it's easier to imagine the end of capitalism than it is to imagine the end of the world. No, other way around, but I'm saying it like this. Yeah, because they coincide. It's like we need to arrive at a state of neuroplasticity about our
Yes.
culture.
And that's where chaos comes in, right?
Yeah.
That's where you need destructive disorder or creative disorder to break the structure, break the filters of perception, jam people out of the mind programs that's keeping them invested in the capitalist narrative. And you need some chaos for that. This is an opportunity, and when things get chaotic, when things get fluid, we have not only neuroplasticity in our brains, but also like neuroplasticity of the whole system. And I'm liking this meme of we only need a few islands of coherence and only 3.5% invested in that narrative and in imagining that to make a shift happen. Because once the system dissolves into chaos, there's like fertile ground for rearranging the system, and the system needs to rearrange itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like once the structure collapses,
Yeah.
there's no other option than a rearrangement. And we need to
Yeah.
invest in our version of rearrangement.
I think the way to do that for now is to surf the waves of chaos. I gotta admit, it's surfing Kali Yuga. What a wild notion.
And this name dawned on me when the pandemic started.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
That was a moment of, all
Yeah,
right, like our structures are dissolving. This is it. I was kind of, I was kind of enttäuscht.
you thought it
that
would be that it would be the thing. You kind of feel like you got edged and blue balled about the collapse after after we went back to normal around Corona. I was never fooled. I was never fooled. I
I
said that
thought I thought that would I thought that would accelerate faster the
it did no, but it
collapse.
was because it was the cracks. The cracks in the system were like they. I always say I saw this quick. They taped it over with this black and yellow tape. They put this over the cracks and just pretended nothing happened.
But the cracks are there. They're very
Yeah,
visible.
and that's why I loved that it was Corona for two reasons. For two memes stuck out to me with the Corona. One is that the crown.
Mm,
It's just like it's crowning.
mm.
It's the birth of something. Like, and now we can see the head. And the second one was that they called it COVID, but in my mind it was Corvid, which is the family name of the species
Right.
that includes the raven. Yeah,
Mm.
and the reason is because they call it COVID because it's coronavirus disease. But why drop the R? Why not include the R? You can just say coronavirus disease, COVID. So in a
And,
way, the on the one hand, the either blindness or deliberate blindness to the mimetic potential of the corvid in the naming scheme shows me that the system itself does not understand the meaning of the event or relies on not understanding the meaning of the event and has to therefore avoid it. But it's unmistakable for those who have the ears to hear that this is a corvid, which is a messenger of the gods. It's a call to let you know, hey, the shift of times
mm,
is here.
mm, mm, mm.
And this happened, and this same with the corona, with the crowning. It's like clearly a signal that things are changing fundamentally.
Yeah. We don't know exactly. The story is not fully mapped out.
And
Like,
it's also when I, in a way, when I stopped being an activist. I was an activist up until and including during, yeah, up until during Corona, and then I quit.
Why?
Because up until then, I had always been part of the activism where you like do manifestations and demonstrations, Occupy, Extinction Rebellion, stuff like this, where you try to get the thing to move.
Mm.
Where it's like, hey, there's a status quo, and it needs to be different. I want it to move, and in a way, I realized that during Corona, I realized already before then, but I thought I could change it. Like when Extinction Rebellion, like why do you ask the government to change their behavior? They're not going to.
Hmm.
I was advocating for systems change. And then Corona happens, and in a way, the left and the systemic critique people flipped, and they went behind the government and joined the pretend everything is going to go back to normal crowd. It's not even about whether you believe in anything or in vaccines or if you think that the measures were justified or that the government behaved appropriately or anything like that. It's not the question. It's the fact that you it's the fact that you chose not to use it as a moment to propagate for systems change and compassionate self-determination in a collective with collective responsibility.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because now that you're saying it, my trajectory was similar. Up until Corona, I was more of an activist. I was also working in politics for a while, trying to change the system from within, right? And then hemp activist, because I thought, okay, legalize marijuana helps break open minds,
Mm-hmm.
helps like turn people on. Then went into
Right.
psychedelic activism,
Also
liberated
for you, it was
drugs.
that. It was that. It was never about the thing. It was about the change. It
It
was
was
about the
about
neuroplasticity.
liberating the substances that can turn people on and help people drop out of this
Yeah.
collective trance we're in.
And I felt like Corona did that already. Like,
Corona did that. Yeah, it was a shock. It was okay. Your normal is gone.
yeah,
All the ways you used to operate in the social field are gone. The way you work is gone. The way you interact with people is gone. All this like social distancing stuff. But I mean, also entering a deeper layer of the underworld journey was part of it, of like retreating from activism, retreating from politics. But that complete loss of hope of having any effect on the system with whatever I was doing
no, because
was
but I did feel like it was a start of hope. I was just disappointed in myself for not capitalizing on the moment better. But I realized that no, I've
for me it was a clear signal is we need to take things in our own hand. We
yeah,
won't make the people in power and the governments.
ever
They're
move.
moving
Yeah,
too slow to create change from within the system. And we need to start
when
organizing
trying
the
to avoid the collapse
neighbors.
and the dystopia, yes. And it was exactly their ineffectivity and in the case of European governments around the corona and around climate change, and their unwillingness to change, as in the case of the Democratic National Convention in the USA sabotaging the Bernie campaign, that led to then fine. People are like, well, if we, that was the good opportunity, and now if you don't want Corbyn, you don't want Bernie, you don't want reasonable change. Okay, you get unreasonable change. This is the collective decision in a way that was made in the stalemate in the failure of the people to come together and make the change the nice way. So now we get the dissolution. Okay, we get we get the crisis. People really desired the crisis, or didn't trust themselves, didn't love themselves enough to trust themselves enough to do it the nice way. And I include myself in that. I didn't trust myself enough. I didn't love myself enough to try and show up and do this work of agitating, educating, and organizing when earlier, just earlier. Yeah.
So here we are, two pirate captains of the Erisian Liberation Front, trying to organize, educate, agitate, and turn people on, help them tune in, and show them paths and tools to drop out.
And drop into something. It's into and this awareness. I love the Ram does in this. All I that on the it's good to have this understanding at the end. All I can really do for everyone is to work on myself. That really does like this is like the key to service is self-awareness. Know thyself. That is the yeah.
But that's not the only thing. That's an important thing that we can do, because I think that's coming back to the we're walking each other
But
home
Ramdas
bit
was
of it.
also not a just a guru sitting on the mountain meditating his life away. He was active, doing things, being a yoga teacher, and like showing up and doing stuff. It is that,
And
showing up in the world and expressing yourself is integral part of knowing yourself. You can't know yourself unless you apply yourself. How do you know yourself if you don't get involved in the world? Easy to think you know yourself if you never test it. So if you really want to know yourself, you gotta. I saw this meme: easy to look sharp when you don't do anything. You have like this perfectly sharp pencil, and then the other one that looks like chewed off and is like, used. Yeah.
but also what we are doing for each other. This walking each other home by giving each other mirrors, by illuminating the blind spots that we have, by holding space for our triggers and our flaws, by helping each other inquire. This is the walking each other home, I think. Um,
No notes.
and for me, this Pipilota journeys, yeah, I'm facilitating, I'm the captain, but I'm also doing my own work. And I'm also going through my own chaos cacao that I conjure. And the waves also hit me when I'm on the ship, and I have to deal with whatever is being brought up and rattled up from my subconscious for me to look at and to integrate and to fuck around with habits and structures. So big motivation for me to do this journeys is also to have the regular container for me to do the work.
Yeah.
So I don't slack
I feel like this is also
at that.
that for me. I feel like I think that's a good sign of that you're really on your passion, on your mission. That this is your service. It confronts you with yourself. It's where you experience the most growth. And in a way, I feel like I'm experiencing the most growth in this kind of work of whatever this is, with the silly screens and the cameras and the getting to a point where I can communicate clearly the inner landscapes that reveal themselves in hope of being born into reality. There's
Being
something about
in the
like
sense that if you break out of the different filters of perception that you are still conditioned into, the more of reality you get to experience?
That's one. And about this waves of chaos as things go into a new shape, that by surfing the waves I get to be there and participate in the reshaping of it through my conscious awareness and the choice I make to where I focus my attention, what I speak about, what do I speak into the world. Nomen est omen. What do I name? What do I conjure up?
What do I spell out?
Yeah.
The spell crafting, spelling it out.
And that's why I think it's very good to keep the focus, indeed, like you say, regenerative, solar punk, forward and together.
And playful, fucking playful. Because the situation as is serious and dire enough. But if we manage to keep that work a bit playful and uplift
Yeah.
our spirits, because if we're in this fear, vibration, and panic, we also don't have access to higher circuitry and insight and revelation. So
Yeah, very good. Yeah, exactly.
the playfulness in this work, I feel, is an important key to
And then also the
give
care.
permission to fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and the care. We got to feel safe and connected and loved in order to have space for playfulness. So there is a real importance for the work of solidarity and mutual aid. This is crucial to create space where we are even feeling like a human being. We need to feel like human beings in order to have the playfulness in order to create. So this is set and setting. If we want to have a
And
trip,
storytelling.
yeah. So this is
That's setting storytelling.
the only way to achieve that is together, especially in these dire times. So there
Yeah,
is that
networks of care. Networks
the
of care. Not
connectedness crucial.
cosmic customer care.
Yeah, but indeed, yeah.
Captain Arius.
I would ask the DJ to hit seal uh, the song "We're Never Gonna Survive Unless We Get a Little Crazy."
Yeah.
That's such an anthem. Yeah,
So the core message of today's transmission is delirationem tuam vive. Live your own madness. Dare to show up as weird and as authentically as you can on the internet, so that
yeah,
the robots have a harder time copying you, or the technocrats have a harder time
yeah.
copying you as a robot.
It's finally time to take the only shot we have, and that's yeah, to give it your all. And indeed, make it really expensive to stimulate you, or we can't be friends.
And you can't be on my crew if you're not weird enough.
Yeah,
No.
or
Well, the weird enough, like what's weird enough? I don't know.
that's
But
neophiles. Can we at least be? Can you? Are you open to awaken your inner neophile? You don't have to already be weird enough. Don't act weird. Just what I mean is, does yourself shine through? Can I tease it? Can I invite it in? Can I somehow? How do I reach these kids? It's a Cartman joke. Because Cartman's a kid himself, and
is what?
a kid
Carbon?
who's Cartman from the South Park.
Ah.
It's the South Park episode. But yes.
Um. Yeah, just dare to be weird.
Uh huh.
Dare to tune into the weird and own your weird on the internet. So you can fine tune your frequency and find the others.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We didn't stick to the 55 minutes though.
That's critical error. I was looking at it's okay. That's okay. Well, next time.
I think maybe we can make some cuts and bring out a version that's just 55 minutes or something.
Go ahead if that's what you want to do. Feel absolutely free.
Well, I don't have the fuck's time for that though.
uh, who does?
I don't have the time for that. But like also people like
Oh, but I do want to. I wish we could. No,
like.
but I wish we could do where you can tell the robot to clip out all mentions of the union or like the themes, like to get like a supercut of a particular theme in it. But it's okay. It's okay. Figure it out. Figure it out. Ah, see you. Ah.